Hi everyone. So earlier this week I had discussed how I'd gotten my Craigslist account frozen because I was trying to do some tutoring on Craigslist. Somebody was trying to scam me. It was quite obvious they were trying to scam me, and I decided to scam back, and it backfired on me, and I got my Craigslist account frozen. And now I have to use different contact information, which is a little bit inconvenient, but acceptable. But today I'd like to talk about another Craigslist section that I love to use, the ride-sharing section. And it's kind of relevant now because I'm heading back from Montana back to Seattle, and I'll be driving, and I hope to find somebody to ride share with. I want to clarify something first. A lot of people worry about my safety when I ride share, but I want to point out that safety is a relative issue. You know, when I'm driving these long distances from Seattle to Missoula, and sometimes having another passenger in the car kind of helps keep me safe. You know, driving alone these long distances has a tendency to put me to sleep. And yeah, you obviously have to check out who you're riding with and check out their ID and their credentials and all that. You obviously have to just use your good judgment and your street smarts. But safety is never an absolute issue. The other issue is that, okay, meeting with strangers might be dangerous, but what's even more dangerous, especially for my circumstance, is being lonely. I mean, I've dealt with mental health issues before, and I know personally that being lonely is far more dangerous to me than connecting with any stranger, especially if I use my street smarts. So let's get that out of the way. But the bigger problem is that on Craigslist, people are way too casual. I've had so many frustrating experiences that I kind of put some rules on how I used to allow people to, you know, right now I'm in Missoula and I'm going to Seattle, and sometimes the person needing the ride might be a little bit out of the way, and I might accept it because, again, you know, I like to network with people, but then I get there and they're nowhere to be found, and it's only hours later that they send a text message that they had a change of plan. Let's go tomorrow. And you know, sometimes again, the sunk cost fallacy will sink in. I'll try to stay another day somehow. Sometimes I even have to miss work in order to do that, and it doesn't go very well. Sometimes the person who takes the ride, you know, I vet safety issues. You know, I check out that they're actually a student or an employee of where they say they are, and check their ID and all that, and maybe even check any court records. I vet that, but they get in the car and they get very demanding. Stops along the way. They might eat or drink a lot in the car, and then they need to go to the bathroom along the way. Or they just want to see scenery, or, you know, they say they're going from Missoula to Seattle, but they conveniently forget to put in the detail that they want to stop somewhere in Spokane to say hello to a friend and be there for 2 hours. I've had that before, actually, not here in Seattle, but back when I was in Rochester. You know, I've heard suggestions to get the payment up front, so that if they're seeing their friend in Spokane, I can say, hey, I'm going to leave, you know, and already have the money up front. I hate to do that because for me, ride sharing isn't about saving money. It's more about connecting with others, and to a lesser extent, maybe benefit the environment. Saving money is like at the very bottom of the priorities when I ride share. I mean, the only reason I charge the money is probably, again, to vet my safety, you know, so I don't get a bum in the car. But anyway, so I get these weird, unusual circumstances that come up. The other thing that comes up sometimes is that I obviously don't like having odors in my car, especially fragrances, and definitely I don't want anybody smoking in my car. So I put that up front, and usually that's not a problem. Sometimes people will use that as a haggling point. You know, they're a smoker, but they won't smoke in my car, but then they haggle the price off. That's not a big problem, but it makes me realize that, you know, my not smoking is kind of costing me money when it should be the other way around. But it's a philosophical issue. It's not a big problem in this scenario. Usually I try not to deal with those people because, again, ride sharing is about networking, and I don't necessarily want to network with a smoker anyway. What else has come up? But the big problem is the scheduling changes that really drive me crazy. Because let's face it, when we rideshare, we're going to have to compromise in some way, right? For example, right now I'm in Missoula and I'm driving to Seattle. I hope to leave in 2 hours. Right now it's what time? So I hope to leave around 2 p.m. So I get an email from somebody who wants to leave at 5 p.m. And so we discuss the logistics. You know, they definitely can't smoke in my car, you know, how much they're going to contribute for the trip and all that. And I rearrange my activities to accommodate that. So you can see it's never a perfect match. For one thing, they might not have a ride up to the hotel that I'm staying at. And for another, they might not be going to the same destination over in Seattle. And they might want to see other things in the area. I love to view outer space, right? I might have to give that up if I love to go to stop in Ellensburg to take some pictures of outer space. I could probably pull that off, but it might not be the exact timing that I want, right? But a lot of compromise has to go on before the ride even happens. So I think schedule changes are a serious breach of etiquette in that case. Another thing I noticed a couple weeks ago, somebody posted on Craigslist that they were upset about an ad because people were posting in the rideshare section some kind of taxi service. I don't see it as necessarily black and white. There are times where I only wanted to go on a trip if I could find somebody to rideshare with. It was somewhere that it was kind of borderline, and I only wanted to go if I could save half off and get a networking opportunity in the car. Perhaps it was a long drive and I didn't feel comfortable of being alone. I mean, it's not like the person's going to share in the driving, but at least having a passenger in the car to kind of co-pilot definitely helps. So a lot of times, what I'm trying to say is that there are times where a trip is contingent on somebody ride-sharing. And so it's kind of a hybrid of those. The other thing is that sometimes, where else does this come up? The point I'm trying to make is it's not necessarily black and white. The person offering the ride doesn't necessarily have a trip they need to go on anyway. That seems to be the MO of Craigslist ride-sharing ads, which I think is a little bit too black and white. But I think the breach of etiquette, the big breach of etiquette is when people don't realize that a lot has to happen behind the scenes, and that's what makes it a little bit challenging. But so I've had to be a little bit more conservative. Today I saw an ad for somebody who was a little bit out of the way, and his ad was very wishy-washy about needing the ride. So I didn't even want to respond to that. So it makes me realize that people who breach etiquette really hurt everybody else. You're not just hurting the one person who was going to give you a ride. You're hurting everybody who needs a ride or who wants to give a ride because they have to hesitate about such issues. Thanks for watching.